Boop.
Hey guys, this is episode 17.
He's been practicing that all night.
I've been making sure not to say the wrong thing, so.
After last week's fiasco.
I almost got fired.
Yeah,
so.
you know.
And a long talking to. You're gonna quit saying weeks, motherfucker.
Right. If I wanted to do a podcast by myself, I would have done one by myself. I can't have you messing up, bud. No. Week 17, no. Episode 17. just no, I did it on purpose. Just a little jokey joke.
You threw me off there. I really thought it was a genuine.
You looked excited. You're like, motherfucker.
I got you. No. Now you have a strike.
Episode 17. I felt like I had more of an intro figured out this week.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but just like some things to look forward to in our conversation. I rewatched some things that we've already discussed.
I've watched some things that we've discussed.
I've also watched things we've discussed, and we'll continue to discuss. I continued my David Lynch journey a little bit.
Same.
Let's get into it. I would like to start.
Then by all means.
On a note, it's actually not one of the movies I watched.
Okay.
I know usually I don't talk about TV shows until they're done.
Yeah.
But I'm going to break that rule today.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So, I guess last week, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man came out on Disney Plus. Did. And first off, they're doing that thing. I kind of like it. A little hybrid release thing where they it's weekly, but they release like a few episodes at a time instead of just like one episode every week, which I like. I like that. It's the best of both worlds.
They'll dump like 3 episodes every week.
Yeah, like just, 2 or 3. It's like that way you get a little more to eat, but you're not too full. It's not too much.
You get entree and a dessert.
It's nice, and I have to say, I'm very impressed with it so far. I mean, I was impressed last week when it first aired because they dropped the first 2 episodes, and it was just so much better than I was expecting it to be. I figured I'd enjoy it, but it's deep, it's good. I like the fact that every episode pretty much picks up right where the last one left off. So it does kind of feel like a bigger Spider-Man story. I love the whole parallel universe of all the multiverse shit they've been doing. This feels like one of their best ones. I feel like they only get it right with Spider-Man for some reason. But
he has traveled the multiverse.
But I love this feels like a universe that's only a couple clicks over from Tom Holland and what we've seen so far. Because even today's episodes, they dropped. They bring up the Sokovia Accords are going on and Civil War happened and all that stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that would check out and the timeline of everything because that is when we meet him and all that stuff. And it's cool to see them recreate moments we already know, but a little different. And I still don't know if Norman Osborn's going to end up being a bad guy. I really don't know at this point. He's really,
who knows?
You just never know. But I will say the biggest reason I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like when we saw that first Spider-Verse movie, we were like, yes, this is the quintessential Spider-Man movie. And then I feel like No Way Home was a really good, yes, this is a good Spider-Man. But I think this might be it for me. I think this might be my favorite. Yeah, it might be my favorite Spider-Man thing they've done. And I can't wait for you to watch it just because the reasons I like it, I feel like you will also like these things because I feel like it's the most authentically Spider-Man story. Even though, because my thing, we've seen the Spider-Man thing done so many times. I don't even care that they're mixing and matching characters. His best friend in this one is the chick from The Runaways. And just things like that where they've just mixed and matched a lot of characters and changed things. I don't care. I don't give a shit about any of that. It keeps it fresh, but it's Spider-Man to its core. It's probably doing the best job I've seen so far of the whole Peter Parker Spider-Man balance thing. And it's like there are just those moments where like you just, even today I was like, oh damn it, Peter, like you're always running late or like bailing on your friends, like you don't mean to, you got your Spider-Man thing to do. But then another thing was like in one of the first episodes something happens where he hits somebody. He's like, oh my god, did I knock you out? Like where he's just like, he doesn't know his own strength. Right. And like ever since you read that what was it, the Superior Spider-Man?
Yeah, or the Spider-Man Dying Wish.
Yeah.
Which is like the crossover too.
I think about that all the time. That moment you told me where like Doc Ock realizes just how powerful Peter is, and like he's just been holding back this whole time. Like that stuck with me, and I never even read the motherfucker. Like
that was good,
and I was just like, I love that detail, and they do like they kind of play into that, and like just all the little things that like make Spider-Man who he is, and he's actually like a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this too. Like he's not like, yes, there are bigger threats and stuff that are like cosmic and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, but he's still saving cats.
But he's like here on the ground, like in New York, doing New York things, like, and I appreciate it. Like it feels like just an authentic Spider-Man story. I like the little remix of the like OG Spider-Man theme song as their theme for this. Just across the board, I'm very happy with it. There's even like a little villain arc going on that it's just like you hate to see it. They make you love this kid, and you just know he's going down a dark path and gonna turn into the villain he will become, and you're just like, shit, hate to see it.
Was it the Prowler?
No, actually, it's Tombstone. They're doing
Tombstone.
They're doing a little spin on Tombstone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because like he's like a senior. And Peter would be a freshman, I think.
Makes sense.
And so he's like, kind of like, at first you think he's going to be like the Flash Thompson sort of deal because he's on the football team and all that stuff. It has the girl that Peter wants and all that jazz. But then they immediately like make him buddies with Peter. And even Peter's surprised by this. He's like, damn, I thought you were gonna be one way. He's like, yeah, he even has some line in the first one. He's like, I know that look. That's the I didn't know the jock knew things about science look or whatever. Like, and it's like, I think it's like in the second episode, it like breaks off from Peter's story and it like follows Lonnie home. And like you see him get like racially profiled by like this like old woman on the train. You see it happen with like these cops like following him home and stuff. And like just it gets into like a deep thing. And then even this week, like they get into like some gang stuff, and I'm just like, I mean, it's not a kid show for sure,
right?
But
you said they cuss.
They do they cuss
some swear words.
They sure do. You know, PG-13 stuff, but it still happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
no F-bombs being dropped or anything like that.
That's what I'd say. I mean, I wouldn't, just because it's a cartoon, it's definitely not for kids. It's like a PG-13 kind of thing.
Or TV 14.
Sure, yeah.
That's how they do that. I think that's how they do the ratings.
That is, right? It is. It's how it's worked for decades, yes. But yeah, man, I can't wait for you to check it out. I can't wait to keep watching it. I'm curious to see how it like ties in the grander scheme of things. Because I even thought at one point, I'm like, I could see this being their way to replace Tom Holland. You know, like Tom Holland, he's getting older. And I know he ain't trying to be the old web swinger for too long.
Hey, you don't know.
I mean, he makes it sound like he's pretty much wrapping up his business. But I could see them being like, when all the Secret Wars shit happens here in the next few years and Battle World happens and they just start collecting different multiverse pieces, and, you know, you just kind of get what you get when it's all said and done. I could see them carrying over this Peter or whatever.
Maybe that's the plan. Who knows?
Who knows? Only old Kevin Feige running the joint.
I was like, who's that?
But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for you to check that one out.
I might watch it tonight.
Well, shit, I didn't know what your Disney Plus situation was like.
Oh, it's active.
Oh, well then get active, bud.
You know,
you got 5 episodes to chow down on.
I got about 4 episodes left of Skeleton Crew, so I'll probably be talking about that next week.
Word.
And then yeah, I can go ahead and knock out some friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hell yeah. It's good stuff. And I don't think you said you still haven't checked out X-Men '97.
No.
Yeah,
No,
I don't know, man. I think Marvel Animation took it personally when What If didn't land the way they wanted it to, and they're like, "All right, you want to see some good shit?" And they stepped up. Just X-Men '97 and this Spider-Man show is like, wow, this is some damn good storytelling.
Yeah, I never watched the original X-Men '97, really.
Yeah,
so
I feel like you don't necessarily have to. I'm sure you can get more out of it by like watching. I didn't watch the whole thing. I've seen like the first season maybe. But even just jumping in at X-Men '97 is good. I mean, really damn good.
yeah,
I'd almost go as far to say,
I
I mean, and I've seen other people agree with me on this, that like, I feel like it was almost better than the original animated series.
Well, I might have to check it out. I feel like I saw like episodes of like the original, but I never actually just sat down and like watched it myself necessarily. So
yeah,
we'll have to see. We'll have to see what that looks like.
Yeah, Marvel's set up to have a pretty good year this year.
Yeah, I still need to finish What If season 3. Or start it, whatever.
Start it, finish it.
Yeah, start it and finish it. One thing that's funny to me is like people always be kind of giving me a hard time about not watching TV shows. And it's like, because even someone at work today is like, oh, or it might have been today or yesterday. And they said, oh, I thought you watch everything. I was like, hey, like, I'm just not huge on watching, like, TV shows.
Right.
I mean, I will, but, like, to sit down and watch something that's, like, 11, 12 seasons long, I'm just like, nah.
I just don't have it in me
anymore. I don't know. I just get burnt out after a while. My problem is like, I'll watch a show that hasn't finished yet, and so once, like, the season ends, before the new one comes out, I just want to get back into it, and that's usually my biggest problem with finishing shows. But
yeah, I've said before, I'm to a point now I just can't binge things like I could before. Like I prefer the weekly just so that I can space things out. Like I like having like maybe 3 shows going at once, to where I'm like, yes, okay, Wednesday is this, Sunday is this is Friday, okay, and then I watch my episodes. Maybe I skip a week, have 2 to watch. But yeah, I definitely watch more movies.
Oh, absolutely.
I will say, just a little side note, Belle's been watching that Younger on Netflix.
Okay.
And one of the main chicks is, I was like, she looks so familiar. She was from Entourage. And now every time I walk into the room and she's watching the show and I see this chick, I just want to watch Entourage.
That's funny.
Because I think she was like one of their agents or something. I remember really liking her character. She was very funny. But
I'd have to see her to know.
It's been a minute since we watched Entourage.
Yeah. Years.
Right. Thanks to Entourage, that's what started the old Max account. With the intent that we were going to watch something else. I forget what we were going to watch. But we were like, hey, let's watch Entourage. And
we sure did.
Yeah, we sure did. All of it. The movie and everything.
Oh, yeah. Should we get into it? I feel like we have a decent amount to get through.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Did you want to start, or should I get into it?
I mean, I can just knock out these 2 rewatches real quick, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
I rewatched The Substance.
Oh, yeah, you sure did.
I bought a copy and then watched it with Belle. And left her alone for the last part of it. Because I had to, put our son to bed and stuff. And so she was just there for the craziness that was the ending. And yeah, I mean, it's still good. I still like it. I'm still hoping Demi Moore wins the Oscar. But yeah, definitely not my number 1 favorite of last year, for sure. It just drags a little too much by the end. Like, I can never fully stay invested, like, from start to finish, I feel.
How long is it, like 2 hours?
It's a little over 2 hours, I think. Yeah, 2:20, I think.
Probably been like a solid 2, just a solid 2 hours.
Just a solid 2, and I feel like I would have been fine. Yeah. I definitely start, like...
There was about 20 minutes where I felt like it was a little...
About the time the New Year's stuff happens, and like... But about the time shit just gets really crazy at the end, like, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm a little...
Yep.
It's time.
Time to start looking at the phone, like, how much longer we got on this thing?
Still, I love it. I'm still just, my jaw's still on the floor that it got nominated for Best Picture. I just can't believe the Academy allowed such a thing. But then the other one I rewatched, another Oscar nominee. I've seen it twice now. You've seen it no times, which is Wicked.
Okay, I thought you were saying it was Wicked that I haven't watched it, but I get what, you're
Wicked.
saying.
Keep not watching it. It's Wicked. No.
Well, you're supposed to let me borrow it.
Well, I don't have it like that, but...
Oh, was it? How do you have it?
It's just like, but her mom bought like a digital copy.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So
I'll find a way.
My cousin was wanting to see it, so he came over and watched it with me, and he felt about the same way I did. And after my second viewing, like now my thoughts are solidified on it. That first time I watched it in theaters, I just felt like it was just dragging ass after a while. I'm just like, all right. And especially like when it gets to Defying Gravity, which is the last number of the whole movie.
Right.
It's just
20 minutes long.
Keeps fucking going.
They kept defying the laws of how long that song should be.
And I mean, it really gets to the point where I'm just like checking the time, like, all right, okay, all right, let's go. And something like, there's just a lot of things that just feel very pointless. Well, definitely, like, this movie is closer to 3 hours. This is like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Sheesh.
Did not need to be. Easily could have cut out like probably 30 minutes.
That's a part one.
And that, I know, that's what I said to my cousin. I was like, how long is the fucking stage show? Like, it's just like, but he was feeling the same way. That like, hands down, I mean, it got nominated for 10 Oscars. And the one that I definitely think it deserves more than anything is production design. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's very well made. I mean, I think it deserves all the technical awards.
Yeah.
But I did let him borrow The Substance and both Dune movies. And he got back to me on his thoughts. His thoughts on The Substance were about what I thought they'd be. He enjoyed it until the ending, and he's like, what the fuck was that? But Dune, he really liked Dune. I was very happy to hear that. And he agreed with me that would be his pick for Best Picture.
I was trying to think of what cousin it was, and I know. It was Jim, right?
Yeah. Right, yeah. But... yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll win Best Picture, but I do think it deserves it. of the nominees I've seen.
For which one?
For Dune 2.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it deserves something.
Deserves something. It definitely I feel like it kind of got slept on this year. I don't think it got a lot of nominations.
Which is crazy because like when it first came out, like in March, I was like,
this is the one.
Yeah, I was feeling really good about it. But I haven't rewatched it a second time to form another opinion. I just had the IMAX love for it all, so we'll have to see. I'll just see on like a regular screen on how I feel.
Yeah, I feel you. All right.
And so I should go to my next tip.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so coincidentally, it was a limited series. It was the first thing that, and what I teased a little bit in last episode about Midnight Mass.
Oh yes, yeah.
I did finish and watch it. It was good. I enjoyed it. I talked to some other people who watched it and they had some problems with it. I was like, why? And they told me, I was like, well, what did you think? What did you want to happen then? Like, I don't know how else you could have went about it. To end it. Did you want me to get into it, or did you want to watch it?
I'll probably watch it at some point. I'd like to watch all of those shows that Mike Flanagan made at some point.
They were good. It was good. It was worth the watch.
He's got a good track record, so
yeah.
I've seen a ton of his movies, but like I haven't seen, I think, any of his TV shows.
Oh, I saw. If he has 3 on Netflix, I've seen 2 of them.
Yeah,
I saw Haunting of Hill House. And now Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
And I never finished
Bly Manor.
I watched like the first episode. No, not that it was bad. I just was trying to watch it with someone who wouldn't let me enjoy it. So I kind of had to cut that short.
I feel you.
And then, so we'll let you watch it and then we can talk about it more. We won't get into it. And then I watched The Dirt.
The
Motley Crue movie. It was decent.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, as far as someone who didn't really know much about Motley Crue, it was kind of interesting to kind of hear their story and kind of see how that whole situation played out and stuff like that. So I was like, cool. Got a little history lesson. I enjoyed some of like the actors, and stuff like that, and it was decent. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say it's like the best like biopic of like a band ever or anything like that. It wasn't like, what was that one, like the Four Seasons or whatever?
Oh, the Jersey Boys.
Yeah. That one was really good.
Also, are you saying that's the best about a band?
Off the top of my head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Frankie Valli out here.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it when we watched it.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Same. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really care for Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, I actually got in a bit of an argument about Bohemian Rhapsody the other day.
Some people are diehard fans of it.
Well, because that's kind of what it was. Because my cousin Jim was telling me that he saw this guy made a list of like it was like the top 10 best actor winners that didn't deserve it or whatever. And I guess he caught a lot of flack for putting Rami Malek on that list for Bohemian Rhapsody. And I was like, well, he shouldn't, because I 100% agree. I said he did not deserve it. And Jim was just like, what do you mean? I'm like, he didn't even fucking sing. And then I feel like I'm just more upset about it because Rocket Man came out the next year and Taron Egerton fucking killed it as Elton John and sang all of his own songs.
And I didn't see Rocket Man, so
you did not see Rocket Man?
I did not.
Oh, I love it. I loved Rocket Man.
I enjoyed Elvis.
Elvis was good. Yeah.
I enjoyed that one with the little Austin Butler.
Yeah. But yeah, fuck a Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean,
it
was fine.
I got into like a heated argument because I just said it was dumb. I was like, they didn't really get into anything.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk about his life at all. They glossed over the whole AIDS thing, and then the movie just wrapped up, and everyone's like, Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I like Queen just as much as the next person. We'll just put that out there. I do enjoy the band, but the movie was just okay. And I will stand by it. So
I agree. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it's not the great movie that people try to make it out to be.
It was just okay.
Fight us.
So those were my two.
I'll square off with Adam Lambert. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, would he endorse the movie? Was he like?
No, he's like the new.
I know he's the new singer for Queen. I didn't know why.
He's just the one. He's just the one I chose to fight because he's the leader now. He's the new Freddie Mercury, so he's getting pieced up. So
someone's getting hurt. So those were my two. Did you want to go down? Or you want me to?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
You want to do another one?
Yeah, you can throw out a few more.
Okay. Afraid.
Oh, the AI one.
I have AI underlined.
Yes.
I mean,
Afraid.
I don't know. I mean, it was all right. I feel like it was just kind of silly, to be honest. So, because
it seems silly.
Because who is the dude from Harold and Kumar?
John Cho.
John Cho. I didn't want to have a strike against me, so I didn't want to say something wrong. I knew it was John something. So John Cho is like
John Cena.
Oh, you're gonna fuck me up. And so he like works for this company, and like they went to this meeting where this business was pitching, like because he works like with AI and stuff like that, and so they're pitching. So this company was pitching this new AI, and it was supposed to like have like a consciousness and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be like the next big thing. It was supposed to make Alexa like obsolete kind of stuff, and I don't know, it was just okay, like because it got to a point where the AI started like crossing boundaries. As it usually does, and so then John tried to destroy it or whatever, like the supercomputer that it was hooked up to, and apparently the AI was like controlling people by like threatening them, like if they don't do X, Y, or Z, then this is gonna happen. It was kind of like a whole like master puppeteer and stuff like that, trying to like work all this magic and stuff like that, and then they destroy the thing, and it's like, oh well, I'm connected everywhere. Like there's no, you can't defeat me, and so
I'm in the cloud, bitch.
It pretty much is what it said. I think like almost verbatim, and so like minus the bitch part, and so they're like, okay, they just accepted it.
Freddy Krueger.
They just accepted it, and the movie was over. And I was just like,
that sounds accurate to life. I bet like, humans would probably just roll over and be like, all right.
Yeah, I was like, there's nothing we can do, so
we're trying our best.
All right, come on, come with us. And that was just it. But I don't know, it was just okay. I mean,
be like William H. Macy in that fucking new Planet of the Apes movie. He's just like, well, this is life now.
And you know what? And he wasn't wrong for his thought process.
No, he was just adapting.
He was surviving. And he made the best out of a situation that he could.
He sure
but that's a whole other fucking conversation.
Honestly, Afraid always, as soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, so it's just like an edgy version of Smart House. That's kind of what it came across as.
But that's why I said like that, and Subservience would be like just a good little double feature if you just want a mediocre AI night. Pop some popcorn, maybe have some laughs, and just chill out. Wouldn't be too bad.
I mean, it's got the benefit of being a short flick too.
Yeah, it was only like
an hour 20 something.
Hour 30 max. I don't think it reached that. So it wasn't like it overplayed itself, but the story was just.
I love John Cho, but sometimes he'll do these horror movies. They're just like in 2020. He did The Grudge, like that Grudge.
Oh reboot. Yeah, the remake. Never seen a single Grudge movie.
So forgettable that Grudge movie. I mean, it's so forgettable. The only reason I remember it is because John Cho is in it, and I remember that. Like
he was just collecting a paycheck.
Hey, more power to you.
Oh, shit.
Just killing time till we get Harold and Kumar 4.
He just needs to age more.
Yeah, come on, bud. Yeah.
But
you said fried earlier, and all I could think of was somebody saw John Cho and thought it said fried, and it was like, oh, nice, another stoner comedy.
A fried movie.
Fried.
And then I watched one that you enjoyed.
Oh.
Thelma.
Oh, I did enjoy that one.
Yes, you did. So much so that you requested that I watched it.
It's true.
And guess what? I did.
Hey, it's enjoyable.
I did. And I did enjoy it. For some reason, like, I just almost felt like it was too convenient for, like, the grandson to be as, like, dopey as he was. I almost felt like he was in on it for, like, a split second. I was like, did he just, like, steal $10,000 from his grandma and now he's trying to cover his tracks? Like, that's what I thought at first, but I was like, no, he loves his grandma too much.
Yeah.
She had to wear it for his mental health. The fall.
Yeah, the
life alert. And but no, it was good. I definitely enjoyed that they kept playing Mission Impossible as she was doing like her old version, Mission Impossible, and how the two kind of went together. So that was nice.
I love the there's like a scene near the end, I think, where she's like getting the money and like wherever it's at, like she's going through like, what was it, like an antique store or something?
Yeah.
And it's very like, I was like, oh, this is their laser grid. Like this is.
Yeah. She took the scooter and drove off. She's like,
the little car chase they did with the scooters. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff in it. She was getting the gun from her friend and it just went off because she dropped it. Yeah. And then no one noticed because they were old.
It's hilarious.
So there's definitely some moments where I was like, that was nice.
There was a moment, I wish I could remember it. I think it had something to do with the old man's roommate. He had like a roommate or something. And it's like, we call him something or other. Because I've got the clip on my phone because we thought it was so funny. We rewound it and watched it a second time. But...
they called him something. They did. I can't remember what it was.
It cracked me up. But
he kept on coming up.
Yeah. Very wholesome. Very wholesome movie.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It definitely is one of those things that just like it makes you want to call your grandma.
Yeah.
How you doing, Grandma?
What's going on? Yeah, I thought it was funny that they kept on having her run into people that she thought she knew, and then
Hilarious, bro.
then she finally ran into someone that she did know. I'm pretty sure.
Dude, it might have been my favorite recurring joke in that. I laughed every single time because it's just so accurate. Like, if any old person I know, do you know so and so? No. Well, how about so and so? So and so? Well, never mind then. You know.
No, I don't think so. Oh, I guess I don't know you.
Hilarious.
Moved on. Yeah. And that was Thelma.
Thelma. It's good, sweet, wholesome.
It was a sweet, wholesome movie.
Well, you know what? Perfect segue into what I got next. It was my favorite movie of January.
Okay.
Certified in my notebook. And it was a David Lynch movie. The Straight Story was what it's called.
Oh, yeah. The Disney one.
Yeah.
Where he rides across the United States on a lawnmower or whatever.
So yeah, it's based on a true story about a guy named Alvin Straight, and he finds out his brother has had a stroke, and I guess him and his brother didn't end things on very good terms, but they were very close growing up and everything. So he's like, I'm gonna go see my brother, but he can't drive. He doesn't have a license or anything. So yeah, he hops on his lawnmower and takes off to go see his brother. I forget where he starts, but I think he's going to Iowa.
Okay.
But yes, probably quite possibly the most Midwestern movie I've ever seen in my life.
It was nothing but cornfields.
Cornfields and a Casey's gas station, which I was just like, no shit. I don't know if I've ever seen a Casey's gas station in a movie before. But there it was, plain as day. I was like, no shit. It's like, if that's not telling, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
But
you know you're in the Midwest when you see a Casey's.
I will say probably one part of the movie that hasn't aged the greatest is that something that definitely would not fly today. Sissy Spacek plays his daughter in it, and she's like autistic or something. And I mean, don't get me wrong, she does a really good job, but I'm just like, this is problematic in 2025 because she most certainly is very mentally capable, and she's almost doing this a little too well.
Right.
But yeah, man, I kind of like Thelma. I mean, it was just a very moving story. I feel like very simple is the thing. Like, it was such a simple movie.
Yeah, I don't feel like you could get too complex with it.
No, and I mean, the guy's just kind of meeting people as he goes, and just having these moments with them, and like you're just kind of learning a little bit more about Alvin as he goes along. It's on Disney Plus. You know?
Yeah, might check it out.
I'd recommend it for sure.
I probably will. It was certified #1.
Yeah,
Chase stamp of approval.
Well, it was hard because it was between that and Blue Velvet, and I'm just like, they're literally polar opposite movies. I mean, one is G, one is like a hard R. Like, it's, I mean, they are vastly different movies. So it's hard to like choose between the two. But I don't know. The Straight Story just like got to me. It just moved me. It was just like a very moving movie, and like, especially at the end when he finally gets to his brother's place, it's just like this moment between them. It's just like, God damn it, it got me teared up. I was just like,
oh shit,
this is good shit. And like I said, David Lynch considers it his most experimental movie because it's just a straightforward movie. It's just a regular ass movie, but it plays well. Like it does, and then Richard Farnsworth is the actor who plays Alvin Straight in it, and he got nominated for Best Actor that year. And I had Jim popping up all the time. I had to ask him who the hell won Best Actor that year, because he was phenomenal in this movie. I was like, who did he lose to? Kevin Spacey for American Beauty. I was like, okay. I'm like, fuck, all right.
Yeah, can't knock him for that.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoyed that one. Pretty good. But let's see here. I guess I also watched another David Lynch. I got into a little bit more Lynch because I went from my favorite to my least favorite David Lynch movie, which was Dune.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, which one, if one was to ask David Lynch, he'd agree. He'd say Dune is also my least favorite. It feels even less like a Lynch film than The Straight Story does. Like, there's still elements of Lynch's style in The Straight Story, but Dune, No. And I mean, we talked at length earlier about this version of Dune. And I don't know, I just feel like it had things working against it with like how good the new one is and how fresh in our minds it is too. Like, and I mean, I don't know. It's one of those. It's like it's hard to be that harsh on it just because Lynch's hands were tied.
Yeah,
while
so he was really constrained with what he was able to do and stuff like that. So.
They basically just didn't let him do anything on his own. They were just like, you make no decisions. You're just a hired hand, and they condensed this large story into like less than 2.5 hours. Of all the movies I watched that were, you know.
About 5 hours.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, this one probably could have been longer. They did this thing throughout the whole fucking movie that I really didn't like. And it's how much like you hear the inner voices of characters. Almost as if you'd be reading a book and like, it's like, oh, you know, like a character thinks this or a character thinks that. And they did it a shit ton, like the whole movie. It's like, that was almost their way to like, get things, you know, packed into that short runtime. And I'm just like, I don't like this. And like I said, the effects.
Here's my thought process.
The effects were dated the moment it released in 1984. It was just not good. There was a lot of things that I was just like, what the fuck is this? And not even in a good David Lynch way, where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I just feel like I've watched 5 David Lynch movies now. And the other 4, no matter what they were, they gripped me. Like from the beginning, I was just like, no matter how weird they were, no matter what, I was like, I'm here for this. I'm in it. I'm locked in. I want to know where this is going. And again, maybe it's just because I'm so familiar with the Dune story at this point. I don't know, but like within the first 10 minutes of this movie, I'm like, it's just not grabbing me.
Yeah, well, I don't feel like Dune was really well received, from what I understand, even like when it came out, like in
this version.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I don't
think it's ever been well received.
Yeah, you know, so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like it just wasn't a very well liked movie. So I mean, that was just kind of hard to
it makes sense
to go ahead and like it. You know? Yeah. So.
Which is too bad. Oh, to jump back, there is one more thing with the Straight story I wanted to say.
Go for it.
That there were elements of it that almost made it that much more sad while watching it, which is like Alvin Straight is diagnosed with like he's got emphysema, which is what just killed David Lynch. So it's weirdly, you know, kind of prophetic in that way. But then what I also found sad was like apparently Richard Farnsworth committed suicide before this movie released, because he was in like, I guess just a ton of pain, and like in real life he was dealing with a lot of the ailments that Alvin Straight was dealing with, and like he had just had like a hip surgery and all sorts of stuff, like, and he was just in so much pain that he ended up killing himself.
Damn.
And it just made the movie that much sadder, because you feel like you are watching a man in the last moments of his life, and it's like, well, because you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it just adds that extra layer of like, damn. Yeah,
that is rough.
Yeah, I didn't want to gloss over that one. I didn't want to forget that detail.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I'd rather talk more about that than Dune. Shit. I wish there was something redeemable about Dune. Nothing's coming to mind.
Well, it's okay. It doesn't have to be.
Like I said, there were a few movies this week that I'm just like, I'm not one to just chill on my phone while I watch movies. I usually like to be there for them, and there's at least 3 this week that I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And Dune was definitely one of them. And I even went as far as like when it was over, I'm like, thank God. I was so glad that I was finally done with Dune. I just started just letting it play while I did other things. I was like, I just need this movie to be done and out of my life.
Right.
It's probably the only David Lynch movie I've watched so far that I have no desire to go back and rewatch. But, the other movie I watched was not a David Lynch movie per se, but it was a documentary about David Lynch called Lynch Oz.
Okay.
And it was like, apparently David Lynch has this kind of affinity with The Wizard of Oz.
I did see that documentary pop up. Was it on HBO Max?
No.
No?
No. That one's a different one. The Art Life, which I'm sure I will talk about next week.
Okay.
But Yeah, this one, it was interesting because they were just drawing a lot of the comparisons like throughout his filmography, how he keeps coming back to these themes and images and stuff that all kind of stem from the Wizard of Oz, and like how, even in interviews he brings up the Wizard of Oz a lot. Like he definitely just like it had a profound impact on this man, clearly. And so the documentary, at first I was a little nervous because the way it started, I felt like the director of this documentary was going to attempt to emulate a David Lynch style movie, and I'm like, please don't do that. I was like, I really don't want to watch a documentary like that. But luckily that is not what it ended up being. And it was broken into like 6 different parts, and they're basically like 6 different video essays by different people. Some of them, filmmakers, some like critics, like film historians, shit like that. And each just kind of getting into like different parts of David Lynch and his obsession with Wizard of Oz and stuff. I really enjoyed it, and that actually brings me to a surprise question.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I've been holding this one back because so the last portion of the movie, it's actually the guy who directed A Ghost Story. Does the last video essay, and he mentions, how obviously David Lynch saw Wizard of Oz at a young age, and it made an impression, and it stuck with him, and he, whether consciously or unconsciously, returns to these images over and over and over and over again in his films. And then the documentary takes it a step farther, because then David Lowery, the director of A Ghost Story, starts talking about like the first movie that he saw when he was a kid in theaters was Pinocchio. And he was talking about how like you can look at his movies and like he always goes back to Pinocchio and is like always taking the images and stuff that have just stuck with him since youth. And then they take it a step farther by showing like different directors' movies and like clips from each movie and like just playing them like year by year by year, and how he's like, so and so started with this movie, but it was really just a journey to this movie. Like if you watch all of his movies, like he's just been building his way up to making this movie at some point. And so like, with like Alfred Hitchcock, it shows like his earliest movie, and then it would like jump through a bunch of movies, and there's always birds. There's always imagery of birds, obviously up to the birds. And then like, another director that does like, there's this same shot in almost every single one of his movies. It's like a winding road, like in a wide shot. And so the whole thing was just like, the imagery that leaves an impression on us that we just can't help but to keep bringing. So that got me thinking. And I was like, what is that for us? And I was like, so I started thinking about, for me personally, I was like, what are the things that I can't get away from that show up in all of my work, whether I mean to or not? And I was a little surprised by the answer, but I also feel like I shouldn't have been surprised by the answer. And Evil Dead might be the number one thing that has made an impression on me as a filmmaker, or just Sam Raimi in general, because I mean, obviously he directed the original Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And I would have grown up on those before I even got to Evil Dead. And there's just his particular thing that he does. I mean, a lot of it's his camera work and like the way he like, shoots things and stuff. And you look at any one of my, whether we are directly referencing Evil Dead and like the Chase and Shep stuff, or even just cinematography wise, I'm emulating Sam Raimi's shit, whether I realize it or not. And I was like, damn, I guess me and Evil Dead go back. I was like, I didn't realize, but I feel like that was the biggest one. And the only other one I could think of was, I mean, I don't know if this is the movie to give credit to, but I feel like The Departed, like just the ending of The Departed, I feel like kind of stuck with us as a collective. I feel like that's why we always gravitate towards dark endings. And just those like, just...
Because I was also thinking about that, and I feel like my answer as I was thinking about it is I was also thinking about The Departed, because I feel like that was like the first movie that like really made me love movies, like in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I really enjoyed like kid movies growing up and stuff like that. But it was like, I mean, because I was like a young teenager
Yeah.
when I actually watched The Departed, and I was like, this is like what a movie can be. You know what I'm saying? And it did kind of go kind of against the grain of just like your happy soap boppy, happy ending, everything kind of falls together, and it's not always the case, and that's not always the case with life either. And I feel like, if anything, I guess if I were to have like a through line, it would be like in stuff that I work with, is just to show that like not everything is always just hunky dory. Like there is a lot of sadness and darkness sometimes, like within life, and you can turn that into a comedy or make it scary, or however dramatic or whatever you want with it, but there's always like that element of, I guess, realism of life.
Honestly, that's probably the best way to put it, because I knew in my soul The Departed played a big part, but that's probably the best wording for it, because they kind of talk about that in this documentary of like, it's not just the imagery, like it is like the themes as well, and like not even just the themes of the movie, but like the Wizard of Oz is like, oh, this happy kids movie that has been adored and loved by, but it's just like there's so much darkness surrounding the Wizard of Oz, and like the behind the scenes, Judy Garland's life, like, and there's a lot of that present in David Lynch's work of like the world we know, the America we know, but then there's like the dark underbelly as well. Like it's all, you can't have one without the other sort of thing. Yeah. And that's why he kind of loves playing with his parallel universes and doppelgangers and kind of stuff. But no, I'd agree, because I think in all of our work, that is a perfect way to put it, is because I was going to say something about like morality, and it kind of plays into that same thing of like, everything's not hunky-dory. Like literally the first movie I made, that short film, A Distinct Lack of Holiday Cheer, that was the whole point of that whole thing. It's like I have that whole monologue at the end where I'm like, everybody acts like everything's just fucking all hunky-dory, but it's not, And,
I feel like even the same thing like with Less Traveled. Is a lot, and kind of like in that situation where it's like someone trying to make the most that they know how to in a bad situation, and then having to deal with the consequences and the repercussions of that moving forward.
And that's another one, is like, I don't know if we can credit The Departed or if it was something else, but I know we mutually come back to like, what makes a person good or bad? I feel like we don't really genuinely believe that anybody is all good or all bad. Like, I feel like we adore that concept. I feel like we come back to it time and time again.
Life is a gray area. I mean, it kind of goes back to even like the same thing with Juror number 2 that we talked about.
Right.
A good person who did a bad thing and then made bad choices in order to try to protect his good life. And it becomes muddled. Right. After a certain point where it's like, at what point are you no longer a good person, even though you are? You know what I'm saying? Like you are trying to be on the right path, but when you have like one path is like right and the next path is wrong, and then you just have a line that divides it, and you just walk that line. Yeah. So it's just
there's always a third option.
So, I mean, it's just like one of those things. Yeah. But.
Yeah, that was my big question.
Yeah. I'm glad I was able to come up with an answer.
I'm glad too. I was worried you'd be stumped.
I was worried too when you're getting into it. I was like, oh God.
A surprise question.
What is he about to ask me?
Well, there it was.
Was it my turn to go?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I want to just continue on this David Lynch. Little kick then.
Let's do it.
And I want to talk about Eraserhead.
Hell yeah.
Because I did enjoy it, and I felt like I was able to pick up on a lot of the stuff that he was putting down in that movie. Because I mean, the way I viewed it was just someone who's just becoming a father and all his worst fears displayed like on screen. Even like I felt like even like in the opening scenes where his mind was just floating around this darkness, and then that there was someone controlling it until he ended up losing his mind. Is essentially like how it opened. And then, you know, I mean, it was in black and white, so, but there was just a generally a dark film. So, you know, and it goes into, you know, him walking home, stepping in the puddle and stuff, and then going to his just little apartment or whatever, and he gets his neighbor is like, oh, hey, your girlfriend called or whatever, to have dinner with his family. And then the awkward dinner where like the dad just stared at him, and like the overbearing mother, and finding out he was gonna have a kid, and just like that whole awkwardness of that situation. And then, you know, getting married like due to circumstances, not because he necessarily was in love with her, because they weren't even together.
Right.
And then, you know, raising this thing that's alien to him.
Yeah.
In the sense of like it just being a newborn. Like I felt like that was just kind of their take on it. And then, you know, the fear of your partner not being able to take it, and then just leaving you with this thing that you don't even know how to take care of, essentially. And then, you know, there was also like the he wasn't able to pursue his career that he wanted because he had to stay with the child and wasn't able to, you know, do that kind of stuff. And then dealing with the temptations of the neighbor and drowning in it or whatever, drowning in temptation or whatever, when they sunk in the bed.
I gotcha.
And then, you know, and then I felt like even like the radiator scenes, I felt like that was supposed to be like his partner kind of just crushing pieces of him. You know what I'm saying? Like slowly just killing him a little bit.
Okay.
And, you know, and then the fear of his child turning into who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like when his head fell off and then the baby head grew up.
I gotcha.
And then there was even
man, you were really fucking picking up what he was
you know, and then even later when he neglected the child and then it turned into a monster, like how his actions would then create something worse and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of it that was...
You're making me enjoy it more.
I was definitely like... I was watching, I was like, yeah, no, I get where he's coming from with this. And then, the only thing that really didn't make sense was the Eraserhead part. Like, that one was just confusing. Like, I was assuming that he was just losing pieces of himself little by little, because he was the eraser and it was just slowly being shaved away over time. Is the only thing that I can even remotely correlate to.
You're not going to catch me trying to make logic of David Lynch.
David Lynch films. But yeah, I feel like in the gist, that's kind of like a lot of the points that he was making with that. I fucked with it.
Well, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I did enjoy it.
Good.
It's so far of the two, it's my favorite David Lynch film. So I'm excited to continue the journey. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I think I have some stuff to talk about with this.
Yeah.
So
it's a solid one. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know. At some point, maybe we should just do like a whole deep dive on old David Lynch.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of are.
That's kind of what's happening now, I suppose. Yeah. I guess I just want to rewatch it. I just want to rewatch his shit already. Other than Dune.
You know, and so I'll probably continue to watch it.
Yeah. I still got, like I said, I got 5 movies left. And
and another thing with the bricks on the windows and just being isolated away from the world and stuff like that was another thing that kept on popping up and stuff. So
you were on that. You were on it with Eraserhead. You were picking up that wavelength.
Yeah, I sure got it. So
definitely
a lot of things that I really, really enjoyed. You know,
that's what's up. What's next? What else you got?
And then I have a documentary that I watched. As well, that was
part of your ongoing documentary series.
It is a part. I'll probably try to get one in every week, and for the next 19 weeks. Episodes. Well, and so it was Trust No One.
You're out.
It was this is the last episode. But it was Trust No One, which was about a Bitcoin scam, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Makes sense.
And so I guess it was this guy who, like in Canada, owned like a Bitcoin company, and had like, I wish I would have wrote down the number. I think it was close to like $156 million, and he was like in his early 30s and died.
Damn.
And apparently he was the only one that had the passwords. So like everyone that invested their money like just lost it.
Damn.
And so, so then there was like this whole conspiracy of like he faked his death, or like the wife was a part of it, and it's like what happened to our money and all this kind of stuff. And really just boiled down to dude really died and people just lost their money. Like
Damn.
and that's just,
which honestly feels like the crazier version.
Yeah, and apparently like he gambled a lot of it because it wasn't where it said it was. It was all in his personal like bank account, and apparently he just blew the fuck out of it. He was just
so he was jacking their money.
Yeah, it was pretty much like a Ponzi scheme is how it worked. And so once people, like the way it works is like in a Ponzi scheme, like you just pay other people off like with other people's money,
right? Yeah.
And but like once the market crashed, it devalued the Bitcoin so much to where it was just like, he just didn't have it, and then just so happened to die. So unfortunate, but I guess it's
at least like if he had faked his death, there's like a sliver of a chance you can at least get something back.
Yeah, but the fact that it's just like, nope, he is dead. I mean, he got his comeuppance, I guess. He wasn't going. Yeah, he wasn't. The people were probably never gonna get their money back anyways. But at least he didn't just like leave with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was alright. It was decent. I mean, makes me not want to invest. I've never really wanted to invest in like the virtual currency. I just always been weary about, because I mean, look at like PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
How many times they've been, at least twice now that I can think of, where they've had like credit card information stolen and stuff like that, and it's too easy for people to manipulate the internet.
For sure.
I don't feel so. I mean, granted, I also use an online bank, but
that's different. That's different.
I mean, to an extent,
I
I should, like some people, just sleep with my money under my mattress or something,
right.
But so I don't know. I still just don't trust it.
Yeah.
You don't see me carry around like a virtual wallet or anything like that.
We got you a new mattress, Dad. You what? Where's my old mattress?
Yeah, Mr. Krabs, and he has like the lumpy mattress because he has all his money in it. So that was that. And should I go on for another one?
Go for it.
I watched Carry On.
Oh yeah.
With Jason Bateman.
How was
it?
As if you're not going to tell me.
Whoever else it was. It was
Taron Egerton.
Okay. So, it was decent. It was nice, a nice little flick. I wish I would have watched it during our Christmas sleighs over something like P2.
Well, I would have watched fucking paint dry over P2.
I felt like I did watch paint dry over P2, but I mean, it was decent. It was a nice little. I mean, I feel like it didn't like reinvent the wheel at all on kind of like a terrorist movie, essentially.
Yeah, I got you.
So I mean, dude just was pulling all the strings and he was just making moves happen, and the guy was just trying to figure out a way to they were just playing chess with each other and just trying to figure out how to get what each other wanted, essentially.
That's about what I'd want out of a movie like that. So
so it was decent. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was recommended to me. by a coworker as well.
I heard decent things about it.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad. I wasn't like blown away. Like,
Right.
they did this, but I don't think
It seemed like it'd be good, but not
it's
great,
a nice little sit down, and if you
Yeah.
wanted to, it's a good Christmas time movie. It
For
takes
sure.
place on Christmas Eve. It's not bad.
I love
Yeah.
my alternative options come Christmas.
There was a cool fight scene, like this Homeland agent was driving like someone else, or I think she was in the FBI, and he was a Homeland agent, but he was like a spy,
Yeah.
and so like they had like this little back and forth fight scene in the car on the freeway. I'm like, I like the little camera work and stuff that they had going on, so that's pretty cool. So I mean, there is definitely some decent moments and stuff like that, and Jason Bateman he did a good job. He
usually
did
does.
well with the role. I liked him as the Traveler and stuff like that. So
to go on a little side note here, nothing I've seen, just a thing I found out about this week. Speaking of paint drying, so I guess there's this guy who I don't remember all the details, but he has a movie on Letterboxd that is like paint drying on a wall or something like that. And I guess it's just like taking on a life of its own on Letterboxd. Because the movie itself just started as like a joke, because what happened was, I guess he was trying to, it was something about like the film board in the UK or something. He was trying to get like a film through them or whatever. But basically what it boils down to is like they kind of irked him a little bit. And so as a practical joke, like these people are required to watch the movies. Like this is literally their whole job. They have to watch movies from start to finish to review them and like pass them or whatever, you know. So because of whatever pissed him off, he literally filmed paint drying for like 10 hours and sent it to them just to make them watch it, just as like his own little revenge.
His own little fuck you.
Basically, and I guess it's just taken on a life of its own. He's like, it has better reviews than any of my actual movies. And I
wonder if they did that as their own way to be like, fuck you. You thought we were gonna like this? We loved it. We loved every.
Well, just on Letterboxd, all of these people that like, I guess like people just go on there and they just like say the most random shit. You want to go down a rabbit hole? Go check out the Letterboxd reviews from like the users. Sometimes they're like a whole different world of comments. Like it's funny, but I just thought that was hilarious. That was his way of going about like, okay, all right, well then I'm going to film paint drying for 10 hours and you can fucking deal with that. And they had to. It's like, good for you, dude. Way to stick it to the man.
Hell yeah.
Well, I also watched a thriller as well, Blink Twice.
Okay, which I did not watch.
Which you did not watch. But yeah, I know I was kind of telling you after I initially watched it that I just felt like a good portion of it was just like incredibly predictable. Also has Kyle MacLachlan in it, who is a regular in David Lynch stuff.
Okay.
Twin Peaks, Dune, fucking Blue Velvet. That might be it. I don't know. But there's a lot of Twin Peaks. I don't know. Yeah, there's just like a lot of moments that I'm just like I said, I guessed the movie within the first 10 minutes. I was like, I see where this is going. Like, I just felt like there are a lot of things that were like very obvious of like, they're putting a lot of emphasis on these specific things. And like, I'm still not sure if it's meant to be that obvious or if that was just one of those things. It's like, whoops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I said, like Belle watching it, like she didn't pick up on any of it. But I'm like, I mean, I know how we are. We watch movies a little differently than the average bear. So like,
yeah,
I do feel like we're tapped into these kinds of things. And like you said, like they weren't leaving breadcrumbs. They were leaving whole loaves of bread out. It's just like, okay. But at the end of the movie, when all of these little pieces came together and they were revealing things, like, I really liked the way it all came together. Like, I was like, yes, I had all the pieces and I put together the puzzle, but like the image wasn't what I was expecting, and like, more so that like I was very satisfied with how it ended. Like, it was such a satisfying ending that like I tacked on 2 extra points for it. I was I still feel that way about it. I was sitting at a solid 6 out of 10. Like, it's very well made. Like, I love the cast. It's very well acted, et cetera, et cetera. But then that ending hit and it was just so satisfying. I was like, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I just, they could have done a lot of really basic shit with the ending and they just didn't. Good. And I was happy about that. And I know I told you this, but hands down, I think it might be Channing Tatum's best performance of his entire career. I mean, I really couldn't think of another time I found Channing Tatum so fucking menacing. And there is a scene later in the movie where he like does something that I was just like, damn. Ooh, that was some good acting there, Channing. It took me back to Foxcatcher when he was smacking the shit out of himself. I was just like, he's got the chops. Like, he just is been goofy for so fucking long.
Yeah.
Which was funny because like I feel that way, and then like just today I saw like a Super Bowl commercial that they're gonna release with him in it, where he's being a fucking goofball again, and like, it was like day and night. I was just like, he did a great job. But yeah, we'll have to talk more about that once you get
it. Is it on something?
Prime.
I have Prime.
Yeah, Prime. Zoe Kravitz directed it.
Okay.
This was her debut.
Okay. Yeah, I watched her in Kimmy.
Yeah, you sure did.
I sure did.
You sure did.
Among other things.
Other things, yeah. Most recently, Fury Road. She's in Fury Road.
Okay, I did watch that.
She's in the Batman.
I did watch that.
Catwoman.
Okay.
Yeah, she's out there.
I see her.
She was in Lenny Kravitz's Balls at one point.
No.
Can't say I've watched Lenny Kravitz's Balls, but
if you have, you will watch Zoe Kravitz. Then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some early Lenny Kravitz videos.
Yeah. My.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. How many you got left? Oh, calculating. Boop, 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 boop. 6. Ooh. Okay, well then you go ahead and fire off a couple more.
You want to do 2?
Yeah. We'll save our mutual one for last.
What's our mutual one?
The only one that's mutual. It's up here. It's up top.
Oh, that's on here. All right. So, okay, that's fine with me. I watched It Ends With Us.
Oh fuck. Okay.
And loved the cast. Did not love the
cast. Did not love each other,
but did not love the movie.
Yeah.
I felt like I had several different problems with it. One of the problems I had was I felt like, they set it up to be this way, like in the beginning, because like Julia Roberts is talking, and she's like,
well, Julia Roberts isn't in it, so.
Who is the wife?
Wait a minute. You said It Ends With Us?
I was thinking of Leave the World Behind. So we'll go back to my bad. So It Ends With Us with Blake Lively and whoever. My bad. I got confused. Because they're so similar in title, I feel like that's what my problem is.
Sure.
So It Ends With Us. You asked me to watch it and try to form a non-biased opinion on it. I felt like I didn't have a problem necessarily with them falling in love with each other. I didn't feel it was as creepy as I felt like you kind of made it sound, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Or he was just like hounding her. I mean, he was, but she was also like here for it at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like she was like, "Oh, stop," but it was not like stop. You know,
stop. Yeah.
You know. And so I saw the I don't know, like at a certain point, like. One thing, well, one of my biggest complaints, I texted it to you. I was like, it was a movie set in Boston where not a single character had a Boston accent, which that really just kind of bugged me, like, on a certain level. Because, like, it made sense for Blake Lively. She didn't grow up there.
Right.
She just moved there. But then I felt like even, like, with the brother, the sister's boyfriend, even the nurse that checked in on her, like literally no one had a smidgen of a Boston accent. I'm like, interesting. And so, I don't know. I mean, the story itself was okay. I can see what you're saying, where it's like clearly based off of like a romance novel that people loved. For some reason, I guess. I mean, good for her for leaving them.
For sure.
I definitely there was like the scene where they got into the fight or whatever, and this was like the cringiest moment for me, where it's like he dropped the phone super hard apparently to the point where the case popped off of it and he knocked the lamp over. I'm like, what did you do? Like, show that scene. Show how you fucking were walking and just
knocks
and he's like, I found the number, and it's like, it's not what you think, because it wasn't.
No.
And then he's like leaving, and she's like chasing him down, and it's like they're by the stairs, and it cuts. I'm like, well, he obviously pushed the fuck out of her. Like, they made it seem like an accident. I was like, I don't think that was an accident. And then when he burned his hand or whatever, and he slapped her like that, I could have saw like the way the angling was. I was like, I could see maybe just out of a knee-jerk reaction, it was an accident. And also, that wasn't an accident either. That was, and dude said that. He's like, that wasn't an accident, and he was very, very gung ho about it. But he grew up with someone that used to abuse her mother, and so did she.
Yeah.
And there was that line. He's like, He's like, he's not my father, or something like that, or. He's not like your mother's boyfriend. And he's like, are you like your mom?
Yeah.
I was like, oof. Axel, damn.
But hey, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't. And
but is he wrong though?
And so there was that.
It's crazy because I feel like I had things I wanted to talk to you about, like after you saw it, but I must have disliked it so much I eradicated it from my brain since last week.
Yeah, I guess back to the cringiest thing. And so he pushed her down the stairs.
Yeah.
And so he's like helping her out. And he was like, do you know where you are? Like, do you know who I am? Like, what year is it? Like, he's like, say it means nothing. Or whatever. Like, she just like went back into, I was like, bro, like, leave the poor girl alone, dude. Like, how are you going to ask? Like, and then she made the top 10 list for like the Boston stores or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was like, read it. She's like, oh no, it's because like the root was like the number one. He's like, read it. She's like, oh no, I really don't want to. He's like, read it. And I was like, good Lord, dude. And so there's like that whole scene where he's like explaining obviously the meaning behind it, like when they were kids or whatever, and how the roots are the foundation and blah, blah, blah. And she had the heart tattoo and whatever. Yeah. And I was like, dude, young love. Like, she's with you. Like, you guys are, like, engaged, I'm pretty sure. Like, well, she's just, like, so controlling. But there's foreshadowing. He went up into the rooftop and was literally kicking a chair around. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like, all the signs were there that he had a temper.
I did enjoy the scene near the end where Jenny Slate's character, the sister.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring that up too.
It was like, as his sister, obviously I want you to work things out, but as your best friend, I will never talk to you again if you get back together with him. And I was like, Hey, that cuts deep. That's real. Yeah, that's some real shit.
That was like because she even
for a while
was the whole time she was like, as soon as she found out, she was like, for
the love of God,
for your best interest, like please leave my brother alone. He doesn't know how to love, essentially.
Yeah, but then she also drops that line on him, when he comes to see the baby, where he's like, what if your daughter came home and said this was happening, and he's just like, well, I'll be seeing my way out. Like immediately it was just like, you're right.
I would tell her to leave and never to
leave here and never come back.
But yeah, I was like, damn, I get it. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
But I even said that was a little cold to do it like the first time he's seeing his child. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, here's your baby. I want a divorce. Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. She obviously needed to leave him, but I felt like that could have been a little bit.
Well, the movie did end.
I mean, it did. I don't know. And some people would probably cheer that.
I was going to do this later, but the credits are about to roll.
But I don't want to be in this movie anymore.
So let's get a divorce.
And then got with dude that knew how to treat her right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for her. Good for her. It ended with them. They were stopping the generational
it
abuse.
Ends with us, not the couple, but her and the baby.
Yep. So that was sweet. So I mean, overall, it was all right. It wasn't like.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have to go back and listen to last week's episode to reignite my whatever the fuck my problem was with things, but.
I'm probably just more of like the off-scene stuff, I would assume.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like it was something else, like actually about the movie that I was like, I do not care for this particular thing, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know. I didn't care for a lot of things that happened in it, but that was definitely a big one.
I will say the fucking casting director deserves a raise, though, for the young chick they got to play the young Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Uncanny. You thought it was Blake Lively.
I thought it was Blake Lively, and I was mad because I didn't feel like it was a young Blake Lively. I'm like, I don't buy this for a second. Like,
but it really was.
You're like, it's not the same person. I was like, well, fuck me. I'm sorry. Disregard that last text. Message edited. They did a great job. But
Philip unsent a message.
And then you want to go on to the next one?
And then you left the world behind, huh?
Oh no, that's not even.
That's
not even
I'm so sorry.
One. No, it's okay. It's Hustle.
Oh, the Adam Sandler one?
Yeah.
Never got around to it.
Guess what? I enjoyed it.
Hey.
You want to know something? There was a lot of hustling. Dude ran his ass off in that movie. Whoever played the basketball prospect.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There was a lot of
literally ran his
No, there was a lot of running.
Gotcha.
A lot of running in that movie.
Okay.
And, he definitely ran.
I thought it's like hustling. Like I thought Adam Sandler was back on his Uncut Gems shit there.
Also, but the dude hustled. He would hustle pickup games. So there's different levels of hustling that were being played there.
Yeah, that's
Ben
one.
Foster's in it.
I need to go on like a Adam Sandler kick on Netflix. He's got like a few more like dramatic roles that I want to check out.
I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it just because I know how much.
Didn't know Ben Foster was in it.
Yeah, it wasn't his best performance. No, it was a very small supporting role. He played a good dick, but it just.
He said, "I'm fucking Ben Foster."
And he was convincing on being an asshole. So, I mean, he did his role well. It was just small and it kind of helped drive some of the plots along and stuff like that.
I gotcha.
But it was just all right in that regard. I think I enjoyed it a lot because I do know how much Adam Sandler just loves
basketball.
Loves basketball. So it's cool to finally get to see him do a basketball movie,
For
stuff like that. So. There's different elements to it and stuff like that I found enjoyable and stuff like that.
I love a dramatic Adam Sandler. Always said I love the Sandman.
Had a little jokes in here and there.
Yeah,
and stuff. We got to.
Always,
got to, but
always a fan. Obviously I love Adam Sandler comedies, but I love his dramas.
oh yeah,
Love them.
oh yeah. You want me to keep going?
I'll throw one out
Because I got 3 more besides our last one.
Okay, well I got 2 more.
Okay, cool.
Besides our last one, I watched Here with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It was the big Forrest Gump reunion because it's Tom Hanks and Robin Wright were back together, and Robert Zemeckis, who directed this and everything. And for those who don't know, the big gimmick of Here is that like the camera's just fixed in one place, and it just kind of is meant to follow the story of. I feel like it's meant to follow the story of multiple families, although I don't personally feel like it achieved that goal. But yeah, the camera literally never moves until, well, spoilers, except for the very end of the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, then the camera...
You kept that... kept that one close to the chest.
Yeah, I kept that detail out.
Tell me that. It's a surprise for everybody.
Surprise! We hadn't said spoilers yet, and so what better time than an hour and 20 minutes into the episode?
But, if you're on episode 17, you should just know there's spoilers.
For sure. Yeah, that's like the big thing at the end, that like the camera moves, and you're like, ooh, wow. Anyway, so like it definitely...
Now we're there.
You said something earlier about it, kind of being reminiscent of a ghost story, and I would agree with that. It definitely kind of feels like that.
I didn't even watch it.
Because like even Belle, when we first started watching it, it does this thing where like, again, camera is set in one place, and we see this one spot here, right here. We see it over the course of like all of time, basically, but it focuses in mostly on this house and like the family that grew up in this house and shit, multiple generations and whatnot. It does this thing where like you're looking at the shot, and then there would be like a little white rectangle or like a little square that would show up, and they just kind of show up in different parts of the image. And then like it would fade in like a different part of like the time or something like that. You know what I mean? And like it kept doing this. And even Belle was like, God, I hope they don't do this for the whole movie. But they did. They did it the whole goddamn movie. And it was just like, again, I guess the theme this week is paint drying, because that's what this movie felt like too. This was the other movie this week that I ended up just kind of checking out on, because similar to another movie we're going to talk about here in a little bit, I just feel like it rode on its gimmick, and the gimmick was not worth the time of the movie. Like it should have been, like if it had been like a 15-minute movie, a little short, I would have been like, okay, that was neat.
I'd even give it the full 30.
If you really wanted to do everything that it was doing, because like I said, I feel like story-wise, it would have benefited from just being chronological. I feel like they might have thought that would have been too boring. I highly disagree. I think you don't have to spend all the time in the world, on certain times, but like at least tell the stories you're telling, not just like fragments of stories. And like I said, the main story is technically it's Paul Bettany and his wife move into the house, and he's like he was in the war and has like bad hearing from like a bomb going off near him and shit, and then like he's also like an alcoholic and shit.
Right.
And then they have their kids, and one of which ends up being Tom Hanks, which, like I told you, like you couldn't fucking pay me to believe that Paul Bettany is Tom Hanks' son, de-aging technology or not. Like I just had a really hard time buying that the whole time, And like, so yes, they use the de-aging technology on Tom Hanks and Robin Wright so that they play the young versions of themselves from like teenagers all the way up to being like old as fuck. And
so actual age.
They surpass actual age at one point. Yeah, and go full old. It just like, it jumps around in time so much that like the movie is full of like sad moments and like moving moments, like very emotional moments that just like they don't, for me, they didn't hit because I couldn't latch on to the story. Like just when you would start getting into a story, it would jump somewhere else. And it's really literally the movie's just like, this is what happened here. Like that's literally what the fucking movie is. And that's actually a fucking boring concept as it turns out. Because, I mean, you're not telling stories. You're just literally showing shit that happened. Like, you know, like it would sometimes jump into the future. It wasn't like futuristic, but it was like the family that bought the house from Tom Hanks and his wife.
Right.
So it's like the next family that's there. And it's like this black family, they move in and stuff. And there's a point where like it gets into like they're having a conversation with their son, and like Belle was getting emotional during this scene. She's like, it's just so real. Like this really happens. I'm like, I get that. Like I get the emotions of the scene. I just don't feel it because what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Right.
Because they were like having a conversation with their son about like if a cop ever pulled him over, you know, as a young black man, like this is what you needed to keep your hands where they can see him the whole time, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, like that shit's sad, like on a real level, but like, movie-wise, what the fuck does this have to do with anything that's going on? Like, it didn't seem to, like, because like I said, they jump through time, and you would think that they would use that to, like, draw parallels between all of the people, and very rarely was that ever the case. Like, I told you, like, one fucking time, there was, like, this Native American dude that they came back to, like, maybe 3 times, which that was the other thing. It's like, why choose to spend more time on other people than other people? And it's like we barely would see some timelines, and then like it would go so long since you saw them last that like it would like the black family, like they come back to this family at some point and go, oh yeah, that's right, this is a thing. I totally forgot about this because we haven't seen them in so fucking long, and they have nothing to do with anything other than the fact that they moved into this house after, you know, and it just, the whole thing just kind of felt pointless. I mean, credit where credit's due. Yes, the technology is cool. Yeah, okay, the transitions are neat and all that stuff. Again, a film exercise that would have been a nice 15 to 30 minute short film.
Right.
That I would have been like, wow, that was neat. But in no way did this story justify its runtime.
It almost sounds like it could have done something along the lines of where it's like you split the screen and you can show the parallels of something happening in the past as to what's also happening in the future or later in time to kind of show.
They sort of did that sometimes. Like there was a scene, I think, with the black family, like in the future, they go like the dude is moving this oh, what the fuck? Like a dresser with a mirror on it. I know there's a different name for this.
There's definitely a
but he's
that's gonna bug
a vanity maybe?
Yes,
yeah.
It is.
So he's moving this vanity like across the living room. And again, it's like, okay, that's neat because it's the first time you're actually seeing what's behind the camera, because he drags this thing into like the middle of the room basically, or like just off to the like the right center, I guess.
Yeah.
And like he just kind of leaves it there, and like they're doing their thing. But like for the first time in the mirror, you can see the other side of the house since the camera doesn't fucking move.
Gotcha.
And then it does its little white chalk outline thing that it does like in the mirror. And it like shows like Tom Hanks and Robin Wright at a certain point, like having a conversation like in the other room. But again, I'm just like this, there's not necessarily a parallel. I feel like they were just like, well, this looks cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
there's
it's
a
like,
cool looking shot.
Yeah. And it's like, so they would overlap things. And like, there was like a couple that lived there in like the 1920s, it seemed like. And he was like the inventor of the lazy boy chair. Again, just like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? I just don't understand. Like, I feel like it would have been just fine to have watched the story of this family play out of like, okay, over time, they moved in, they had the kids grew up, they fucking had kids of their own. Like they, you know, lost their parents, they start to die. Like, you know, it's like, it could have been a fine family drama, and they just were like, what if we just scrambled everything?
Yeah.
And yeah,
let's just mix it all together.
Again, just like they were just kind of writing their gimmick more than anything.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if I ever watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one that I'm like, oh, you gotta watch this.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there's a long
You can watch the trailer and still get the same effect, I think.
There's a long list of movies that need to be watched. And so maybe
sacrifices have to be
maybe
made.
in 30 years I'll go back and I'll finally watch it.
Right. When we do a Robert Zemeckis marathon, maybe we'll get to hear.
Go
for it.
Is it my turn?
Go for it.
Am I finishing off what I've watched?
I got one more. So
you want to do two and then leave my one more?
Sure.
Then we do one and then end it with our final one.
Sounds great. I hope this is people's favorite thing about our shows
that we have to talk about.
We have to discuss our game plan as we go along.
I don't mind it when I go back and listen to it. It doesn't bug me.
It doesn't bother me at all. We're the audience, so you know.
And so I did Leave the World Behind.
Okay.
With Julia
Finally.
Roberts, Kevin Bacon, Ethan Hawke,
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. And other people.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else that's in it. I didn't even know Kevin Bacon was in it. So
yeah.
Until you told me the last time we talked about this.
Yeah, and he was. So
and he still is.
And so pretty much what it is like
this is what it is.
This is what the fuck it is. So it was pretty much about this family from the city, I'm assuming around like New York.
Yeah. That
rented like a Airbnb.
Yeah.
And wanted to go on a little vacay. And so like Ethan Hawke wakes up and Julia Roberts is like packing their bags and stuff, and it's like she's like, I already booked it, I already packed everything because I figured you wouldn't say no if everything was kind of already done. And he's like, I don't mind a little vacay. and so he's like, well, where did this come from? And she was like, oh, I was looking out the window this morning and I was watching everyone, start their day and life going on. And she's like, I thought that was beautiful. And then she's like, and then another thought occurred to me. I fucking hate people. And then that's, I was like, oh,
interesting.
Okay. And so.
This is one that's been requested to me a lot.
Really?
Yes. Like a lot of people have told me to watch this.
I feel like I'm going to give it a little breakdown. So we'll see if you still want to watch
Okay.
And so they go on this vacation. And so they have 2 kids. One who was supposed to be 13. She looked like she was 8. I wasn't buying the fact that she was 13. I was like, I don't think so.
It's okay. Belle started the Lizzie McGuire movie this morning, and they were talking about graduating junior high, and we said, we both at the same time go, what? Lizzie McGuire was in junior high that whole fucking time? No idea. I thought she was in high school.
Yeah, I would have never even guessed junior high. And so, and I guess her brother was like 16. Whatever. I've seen him in other things. I can't think of what his name is. And so, like, they're checking out the house and whatever, and it's all cool. And they're like, oh, let's go to the beach. And so they go to the beach, and, like, you see, like, this oil tanker, like, off in the distance. Right. And so they're just hanging out. They're like, oh, wonder why it's coming this way. And so, like, oh, and then I think Ethan Hawke said something about how they have, like, one of the largest, like, docking ports or some shit like that around there. And so it's probably what it is. And so, time goes by, and it just keeps getting closer. Like, to the point where
I at least know this much. This was like the trailer for this movie.
And so it's like pretty much getting ready to like come onto land. Like, it's like right there.
They're like,
and the kid's like, I don't think it's gonna stop. And Julia Roberts is like, hey babe. Hey. She's like, it's getting kind of close. She's like, is it gonna stop? He's like, well, surely you would think.
I don't know. I'm not driving the fucking thing.
And they're like, no, get your shit. And so they pack up and run. I was like, why did you have to wait till like it's like in like so they start running and
there's
then
a shadow cast on them
and then it like literally hits land. I'm like, y'all waited like literally almost to the last minute to find like, hey, like when it's like
goddamn thing running
a couple hundred yards out, I'd be like, yeah, this don't seem right to me. You know, I would have
had left already.
I would exactly like.
I'm back at the Airbnb.
That is not right. You know what I'm saying? And so they go back.
Anybody seen Dad? He fucking left hours ago.
He's back in the city. He went
all the way home.
And so then it's like they go back to the house and like they're just kind of just hanging out, and then they're drinking and playing Jenga, and so who was the other actor?
Mahershala
Ali.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a hard name for me to pronounce. Mahershala and his daughter show up at the door late at night, knocking. They're like, "Hey, we live here." Like,
they're like, "Hey, that oil tanker's getting very close."
And so they're like, there was like a blackout in the city, and so we decided to come back to our home. And Julia Roberts is like, I don't know you. I don't trust you.
Interesting.
And so then there's like the whole dynamic, and Ethan Hawke is like, no, it's okay. He's kind of just like a little bit more of a level-headed guy. And she hates people. Right. And so that's very well known. And she sticks with that for a long time. And I don't know, there's just like things about it. Like it showed like at one point there was a bunch of deer. Like, and when I say a bunch, I mean like close to like 100 deer, standing in the backyard. And like the girl is like standing out there and she sees it.
You feel like those deer are getting kind of close?
And so she's like, that's a lot of deer. And like, well I could have swore like the mom was like looking out the window from the house. I'm like, you didn't see all the like there's like things where it's like you didn't notice all those fucking deer. And so then there was like a broadcast signal and shit going on, and it just like I was like, what's going on right now? Like there's a lot of speculation. Ethan Hawke tries to go into town, and this Spanish lady stops him, and she's screaming at him in Spanish, and he's like, I don't speak Spanish, and then kind of just drives away, and then feels really bad about it. And there's just some weird scenes where it's just like the daughter smokes with Ethan Hawke because he's like a professor somewhere like at a college, and she brought up the fact that like asked him like, have you ever slept with one of your students or whatever? He's like, do I seem like that kind of guy? Like, no. And then later she went to the dad and was like, I think he wants to fuck me. It's like, at no point did he ever say anything. He's like about like trying to come on to you. I think she was just trying to create a reason for the dad to kick him out because she just didn't want him there at all. And so it's just like a bunch of that, and it's like, what's going on? The teenage kid gets bit by a tick at one point and like gets real sick. And so they're going to the contractor's house that built Dude's house, like the Airbnb or whatever. And that who is played by Kevin Bacon.
Gotcha.
And that was probably like the best scene in the movie because like they show up or whatever, and it's like he's like, my kid's sick. He's like, I need help. He's like, get the fuck off of my porch. He's like, this is, like there's stuff going on and shit like that. And it's just like, you need to leave. And he's like, what would he's like, you need to protect your family or whatever. He's like, what do you think I'm trying to do? He's like, my son's sick. I'm trying to get medicine for him. Like, please help me. And so he gives him like $1,000 and he gives him some medicine or whatever, and so like that whole situation kind of dissipates. But that was like probably the most intense shit. And then it turns out it was just like, I'm trying to think of how it ended because it ended really silly. The teenage girl is a big fan of Friends and always wanted to finish it.
Okay.
And so because this is like how it ends, and so like you come to find out that like there was like an attack on the United States, and it's all kind of just crumbling within itself or whatever.
Okay.
And so this girl goes. They're talking about this house that had like a bunker in it, and so she goes down there. There's a bunch of food, water, a TV with a bunch of shit, and she finds her friend's disc, and so she takes it out and puts it in and starts watching it, and then the movie just kind of ends after that. So it was just like I felt like it was just like a whole bunch of. I felt like they could have done a lot better of a job. There was like a lot of like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, this is it. Oh, it's over. Like there's some cool stuff. I mean, I would recommend you watch it. Well, not recommend. I would say that it's worth checking out.
This feels like one of those that like Bella and I are gonna watch it, and she's really gonna like it.
I feel like she'd
man, you know, she'll be like, "Why you didn't think it was?"
It was. I mean, some of it was cool. I mean, there was some. It was.
I'd check it
out. It was all right.
I mean,
but I felt like.
I like the cast.
I like the cast too. I didn't think they all. No one really did a bad job. But yeah, so I don't know. There was just some things where it was like, meh, this is all right.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, I'd give it like a solid like 3 out of 5. Like it was okay. Nothing crazy. I just felt like the ending kind of just fell through for me a little bit. Felt like they built up to this thing and then kind of was like, oh, there it is, and then just kind of just stopped.
I got you.
So,
did you have another one?
Oh, I did. Another TV show, coincidentally, that I watched or finally finished was Godzilla. Fucking Godzilla Singular Point.
Okay.
Did not like it. One of my least favorite Godzilla things I ever watched.
Moving on.
I would say that it was probably worse than whatever
the all monsters attack or whatever.
With this, just bad. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's my own personal preference. I didn't like anything that they did with it. I didn't like the concept behind it. I didn't like the Godzilla design. I didn't like the story. I really just didn't like it. I just did not like it.
Just a little glimpse I caught the other day when I came over. It didn't strike me as anything I'd care to watch.
Yeah, you know, I mean, but with me being the Godzilla fan that I am, I felt
I get that.
I didn't like it within the first couple episodes. I didn't like what they did with Jet Jaguar. I didn't like the rodent was a flock of rodents. There's so much that I just thought was silly. And I don't feel like there's really much of a payoff to the story.
You're mad you're still talking about it.
Because it got me heated. I'll atomic breath that movie, that show, you know what I'm saying?
You storm into Netflix. There's Ted Sarandos.
But yeah, no, it just was not my cup of tea.
I feel you.
So now we can move on.
Okay. Okay, well, my last one here is You're Cordially Invited.
Oh, to what?
Is the name of, it's just the name of the movie. To my review of this film.
Yes.
So it's a new flick on Prime. Just came out last weekend, I think. Has Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon in it.
Okay.
And directed by one of my favorite comedy directors. His name's Nicholas Stoller. He did Neighbors and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Pretty sure he did 5 Year Engagement and The Muppets.
Okay.
You know, so he's got a lot of bangers under his belt.
Bang, 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 bang.
And I always feel like the reason I like Nicholas Stoller so much is he does a good job of he can bring the big laughs, but he also has that sentimentality in all of his movies too.
Yeah.
You know, the nice little streak of emotion, which this had a little bit of that emotion for sure. It wasn't his best movie by any means, but I still enjoyed it. So Will Ferrell's single dad, a widow. His wife has passed away, and he's got a daughter who is she's the Indian chick from Blockers. If you remember, she was one of the she was John Cena's daughter in Blockers.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie,
but I like her. She's really funny. So she was his daughter in this, and they've got kind of a close relationship, and she shows up at home and busts out the ring. She's been engaged to her boyfriend. So he goes to set up the wedding date for her, that she's like, I want to get married where you and mom got married. So he calls the island, and they're like, okay, well, as you know, the island is, only so big, so we can only book one wedding per weekend or whatever.
Right.
So the old lady goes to like write down Will Ferrell's date or whatever.
Yeah.
Get it down in the books. And her pen's not working. So it's like faintly in there. And then she's like, I'll find another pen and I'll get it and we'll get it all situated, blah, blah, blah. So hangs up the phone and she dies. Fucking has a heart attack and dies.
Right there?
Right? As soon as they get off the phone. And very, very comedic fashion. It's like, oh, and like, falls over. And so around the same time, Reese Witherspoon is like, she works for this like TV network and produces like reality television and stuff, which I thought was funny that they got at least two actors. They got Bobby Moynihan from Saturday Night Live and Wyatt Russell for like 2 seconds of screen time. Like literally, I was like, Wyatt Russell must be friends with somebody, because he like, I love me some Wyatt Russell, but he literally shows up for like maybe a grand total of 15 seconds in this movie just to be like the host of a show called Masquerade, which is basically the Masked Singer, but like with dancers or something. And so yeah, he shows up long enough. It's like, it's Masquerade. And then like Wyatt Russell's gone. But so yeah, Reese Witherspoon's at work, and her younger sister shows up. Hey, I'm engaged. Oh, lovely, I'll book your wedding. Where do you want it to be? Oh, this island. She calls, and now like the grandson or whatever, he's running the place. He books them. Well, now 2 weddings have been booked at the same time, and that's the whole setup of the movie.
Yeah, kind of like Bride's Wars.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You never saw it?
If I did, it has been since like 2008.
Well, like Anne Hathaway.
No, I'm familiar. Kate Hudson, I think. Yeah. I think I did see it, but it's literally, I haven't seen it since it came out in 2008.
Neither have I. I just remember that was...
Well, you're a steel trap, so...
I just remember that was the premise.
I can't remember. It ends with us from last week, so... but yeah, so yeah, they both show up at the island and hijinks ensue, and I feel like my thing, I really loved Will Ferrell in this movie, and like, I feel like just anytime he would say fuck, it just was enough to make me laugh. Like just because of the way he would do it. He'd be like so angry about it. And like, I don't know, I just loved watching this little feud between him and Reese Witherspoon play out. It had some funny moments. There's like a moment like later on in the movie where like it's already set up that like you can't go swimming in this lake because there's like alligators and shit.
Gotcha.
And it's even in the trailer, this bit, and it made me laugh in the trailer. It made me laugh again in the movie, where like something goes down. His daughter gets upset and like leaves, and like he tries to like jump on the boat like when they're going to leave, and he fucking lands like. He hits the back of that boat hard, like, and just knocks the wind out of himself and just like slips into the water. And then like when he like comes up, there's just an alligator just like going by him. Well, then it like cuts away to like Reese Witherspoon's thing. She comes back to the room later to find Will Ferrell in the bed, like covered in mud, soaking wet, like holding this alligator. And she's like, what the fuck is going on here? And he's just like, I had to wrestle this thing and it hasn't moved since. Like, I think it might be dead. And there's a reality show. She's like, I'm a producer of a reality show that they showed earlier in the movie called Is It Dead? Which also got a laugh out of me because that's the one Bobby Moynihan like hosts. And they're like, let's play Is It Dead? And then like, it's just like this overhead shot of like a raccoon just like laying there. And they're like, all right, contestant or whatever. Like the question is it dead? And she's like, yes, I think it's dead. So they're like, all right, well, let's check. And the chick like goes into like the little containment thing that they've got the raccoon in, and she like gets close to it to like poke it, and it fucking jumps up, and they're like, ooh, it is not. And she's just like, bah! So Yeah, she's like, I produce a show called Is It Dead? And I can tell you that is not dead. And he's like, what are you talking? And you can even see the fucking alligator breathing, like as he's holding it.
Funny.
And then it just starts thrashing around and he's like, what do I do with it? And they get in like this big argument back and forth. And so he goes to like throw it out the fucking window and he says, see you later, alligator. And when he throws it, and I don't know why I got such a big laugh out of it. I got a kick out of it.
Yeah, you liked it.
Oh man, tickled me. But yeah, there were a lot of moments throughout. I mean, it's silly. Like I said, not his best work, but I enjoyed it. It was good for a laugh.
Might be enough for me to check out.
I'd check it out. Like if you just need a good raunchy little comedy.
I like them.
Yeah, I do too. They're few and far between these days.
It's funny that I said I like comedies, and then I don't think.
And then you never watch comedies.
I don't think I've watched almost a single comedy pretty much since we've started this podcast. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that might be accurate.
Like, and funny in like the wrong way, maybe sometimes. Right. But like as like an intentional comedy, I don't think I've really.
Yeah,
I've watched some like dark comedies, I guess. Like that.
Well, I know what
Tuesday
you're saying,
was funny.
Get
but
a kick out of this.
But it wasn't like listed as a comedy. I don't think.
Right.
It might have been. I don't know. I didn't check the.
Who knows?
Check the genres.
But yeah, I'd recommend it. It was fun.
That's it.
That's it.
Now I've been cordially invited to watch the movie.
Yes.
So that's awesome. And my last film is Lady Bird.
Oh, no shit.
No shit.
I didn't know you watched Lady Bird.
Yep, I sure did. I told
you. Somebody else keeping shit close to the chest.
I told you. I had some surprises for you. Yeah, I watched it and liked it.
It's a good one. I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters, but...
Yeah, just watched it a couple nights ago. And enjoyed it. Had a little Timothy Chalamet in it.
Yeah.
It's like the only person I can think of, like off the top of my head.
Yeah, it has a few people in it. For
yeah,
sure.
Just no one I can pronounce.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I thought it was cool. I mean, it was like I loved the relationship with the mom.
Yeah.
I felt like it reminded me a lot of kind of how my mom is. A little bit to where like she means well and she loves you, but god damn it if she can't be just like very cold about it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like she just wants the best for you and she has like a no filter. She's gonna speak what's on her mind whether you like it or not. You know what I'm saying? So especially as like a teenager, there is times when I'm just like, god damn. Like it's like, do you like me though? Like because that was like a whole thing. She's like I love you. It's like, yeah, I know you love me, but do you like me? She's like, you know, and then she had the relationship with her dad, and I don't know, there was definitely like some cool moments, you know, even like
that's one I'd love to go back and rewatch.
Like, you know, even trying to get with the popular crowd and and pulling the prank on like the head nun or whatever, who then called her out. She's like, or because they put like just married to Jesus on her car or whatever, and then she was like, I know it's you. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, don't worry, I'm not mad. She's like, I got a real good laugh out of it. She was like, we were driving so many blocks before we realized, like, why do people keep honking at us? And she's like, and for the record, I have been married before. Like, I'm not just a nun. And, you know, so there's cool things about it. Like, you know, even like with her being with her first boyfriend and then finding out that he was gay. And then, you know, just like that first love kind of thing where like you're just like, oh, I just love this person. Like, I'm going to be with this person forever. And then, you know, things don't pan out the way that you wanted to. And then with Timothy Chalamet kind of being just a jerk.
Yeah.
And then kind of tricking her in a sorts of like, that he said that he was a virgin as well.
Right.
Like, when they had sex and then immediately after was like, no, I think you just misheard me. That's not what I said. Yeah. It's definitely what he said.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the movie.
He's a little
I watched
sleazeball
the
in that
movie. I
Yeah.
heard what he said. Still trapped. I didn't forget it. He might try to pull the wolves over
Gaslight son
her.
of a bitch.
But he's like, oh, yeah, no, I've slept for like 6 feet. Or he's like, I quit keeping count
Not
for
me,
6.
Timmy.
And it's like, oh. And so then that's kind of when she went back to her. Well, no, not even. She cried to her mom about it.
Right.
And they did their favorite thing on Sunday, which was to drive around and look at nice houses. I think is what they did.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So there, little sweet moments, like, and then it showed the mom like all do alterations on her dress for her and stuff like that, and just they were tight financially, and she couldn't afford to pay for her to go to college in New York, and she didn't understand why she wanted to leave, and nothing wrong with Sacramento. So no one from Sacramento, I guess, I think it's like kind of like what the main chick said or whatever and stuff like that. And so a definitely enjoyable movie. I liked it. It was a sweet little
I hope the bass is coming across on this. It's probably just making your review sound super intense.
like a
Lady Bird.
It's like an Inception meets Lady Bird. I enjoyed it. It was like a sweet little high school coming of age kind of flick.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I remember, like I said, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but I remember thinking, I'm saying, bro. I remembered it being like a very accurate portrayal of being a teenager. I felt like I definitely was like, this
like
is
with the emotions, the back and forth, how
and the
fickle
relationship
they
with the
can
mom,
be. Even the best friend, to where she kind of isolated her and to hang out with the new chick because she was hanging out with Timothy and stuff like that. And
Chalamet out here fucking breaking hearts.
He's been doing it since day one.
Day one. Whether that's Matthew McConaughey's heart in Interstellar or
Zendaya and Dune 2.
Yeah. Oh man. Fuck yeah. You want to talk about a heartbreak? God damn.
She was shook.
I'm still shook about it.
She was shook. You know what? And he did it for the people.
He did.
She just has to trust him, but
fuck no. She's over it.
She's kind of angry right now.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see. I'm definitely excited for part 3.
Oh, for sure.
They teased a little Anya Taylor-Joy. Love her.
Of course he did.
So
made me want to go back and rewatch the New Mutants,
which I haven't seen.
Oh, well, there you go.
Have you seen the menu?
No.
You should.
Almost did the other night, though.
You might want to.
I've heard that. I've heard that. Oh, okay.
Gotta give me from Philly. I talk about it.
I'll watch it.
I might break my rule and rewatch it if you watch it.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
A little rule breaker. Okay.
I've been doing a really good job.
We're just sticking to the new stuff.
Sticking to the new stuff. Really, I think 36 Chambers is about the only rewatch I've done this year.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Actually, I feel like so far this month, all my shit so far in February has all been new to me. So I've been
5 days in.
Yeah, well, I did a lot of rewatches last month, so it's a short month. Anyways, so let's finish this thing off. So Sasquatch Sunset.
Sasquatch Sunset.
I think we found this week's title.
I never get the heads up, so I'm always just as shocked as everyone else with the title. I was like, oh,
is that what we're calling
cool.
this? Okay. And I'm always waiting for a text that says change it.
I'll never tell you to change it. Phil accepts everything.
So Sasquatch Sunset. Yeah. I just am more amused than anything that was like the exact same thing that came out of your mouth and your roommate's mouth regarding this movie when it got brought up. So, Sasquatch Sunset. And yeah. Well, I saw the trailer for it at the beginning of last year, probably in front of like Love Lies Bleeding and like a bunch of other stuff.
Gotcha.
And I was like, that looks pretty interesting. You know, I like zany, bizarre movies. Like that looks like fun. And it was for about 15 minutes. And then it quit being fun. And I just think it's also funny that, like, you know, 2 separate viewings and we both stopped the movie about the same time to see how much time was left. At pretty much the exact same moment, and was like, fuck, there's a whole hour of this left. But yeah, like, you know, it follows these 4 Sasquatches, and like the whole gimmick of this movie is that like you're essentially watching a nature documentary about Sasquatches. And, and it's just following them like through, you know, a whole year basically, just like through the 4 seasons. And like, yeah, I mean, there's moments that are funny, and like there's even moments that are emotional, but like it's just
I just had a hard time getting into like the long scene was obviously the most.
That was probably like the most like plugged in I was to the movie, was that scene. Like,
but you know, at the same time, almost didn't feel bad for him.
Yeah, you know, what are you gonna do?
Why are you climbing on the log in the first
Well, I definitely didn't feel bad for the first one that died.
Oh, the first one deserved it.
Yeah, he tried to fuck a mountain lion.
He was.
You know what you get?
What they do?
You get what you fucking deserve. That's I mean, the similarities in my feelings between this and here are just boundless. I mean, I think there's so many things that I felt the same way about. Like, you know, the gimmick runs dry quick. And like this could have been about 15, 30 minutes, you know, gotten the point across. But it's just so dragged out, and like to that same point of like here where like things were so scattered that like I couldn't hook in emotionally. I felt the same way about Sasquatch Sunset. Like, and again, you know, Belle's watching it, and she even got some tears watching it. I'm like, yes, okay, it's sad, like thinking the baby is dead and stuff. Like, I'm not heartless. I'm not heartless. Yes, that is sad, but like, apparently you all were yucking it up.
Well, see, it's so to explain.
But no, I did think it was sad until she started like shaking the baby the way she was, and it just, like you said, just comes back to life.
Yeah,
it's just like,
we weren't just laughing at a dead baby, okay?
Sickos. But yeah, it was just like hard to connect emotionally to it. Like same with here, like it has sad moments, like it has moments, emotional moments throughout the whole thing that just like is hard to connect with because there's so much bullshit between moments. Like it's just bland, it's just dry. You're just watching.
It's just silence. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think, you know, part into what you were saying too, like part of that, I feel like it was hard to develop like an emotional connection because like there is no dialogue. Yeah. It's just all kind of just like grunting and just traveling. Like it's hard to connect with these characters because you can only. It's
no March of the Penguins.
It's not, bro. There's not even like a narration, or I would have even enjoyed subtitles of the grunting. Right. From Sasquatch to Sasquatch.
What you just said, if they wanted to do the nature documentary thing, having a narrator may have actually also played better into it. You know.
You want to know what my favorite scene was?
Hey, what was it?
When they discovered the road.
That was pretty funny.
Fucking hilarious. So, because it's like they see the road, right? For the audience listening, they're walking and they stumble upon this road, and apparently they've never seen one before. And so they look down one way, and they just start screaming. Like one starts like ah, and so the other one looks the other direction. And then also starts freaking out. And it's like the rule of 3 with jokes, right? Yeah. And so the third one turns and looks down the same direction the first time. And also just starts screaming again. And then they start like pissing and shitting all over the road and then squirting the tip milk out. Just like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Oh, and that one got like a hearty chuckle out of me. That was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. The one took the shroom before he tried to fuck the bobcat.
Yeah.
Or jaguar, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Misspeak one goddamn time.
It's all for the laughs. That was funny because it's just like, this isn't going to end well. And then when they're trying to get the bobcat off of him, when they're throwing the rocks, it just kept on hitting his dead body. It never hit the bobcat. Like that moment was funny. Like, there is definitely like moments to where it's like, yes, I did laugh, but like it was just hard to like. It wasn't like a laugh riot the whole way through, and it's just like it was just okay.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like if somebody went through and edited this movie to where they just cut out all the in between stuff and just kind of left all those comedic bits, or like like the log scene, or like, you know, the emotional parts, like just leaving that stuff in, it would have been fine. Like, it would have been quick, like it would have gotten the point across. I feel like it would have been more emotionally like satisfying, I guess. Like,
yeah, I was hoping when they walked up on the campsite that there would have been a human there just to see like the reaction of like an actual human being. Mm-hmm. Instead of just playing the radio and getting mad about it on Tony's mixtape, whatever the fuck it was, which was the only bit of like actual words you ever heard was when they were playing the song. So I don't know. I mean, it was all right. Like, it was like you said, it was a cool premise.
Yeah,
a lot of Sasquatch dick was in it.
Yeah.
Which was
a lot smaller than you'd think.
A lot. Almost tiny.
Yes.
One would say.
Very thin.
Yeah.
Long and
very
thin.
Weird looking, right? Because I had a hard time almost differentiating between like the men and the women.
Yeah. It took me a while when I got there.
Yeah.
Minus the dicks.
Minus the tiny dicks that they had just hanging out. I mean, I don't know. It was all right. I just... too long, first off.
For sure. Yeah.
Should have been a short film.
Yeah.
Like you said, even like a solid like 30. I'd even be generous and give it a 45 minutes. Like, if you really wanted to. But to even show like building like their camps and stuff like that. Also, wasn't there like a bunch of Sasquatch at one point, like towards the beginning? Or am I just remembering that wrong? Because I thought like during like the title sequence there was like a bunch of them walking through the forest together.
I don't think so. I think it was just those four.
Oh,
yeah. As far as I remember.
Well, that's what I know.
I will say within the first like, I don't know, few minutes of the movie, I did say I bet this was a lot of fun to make. Like, I bet the actors had a good time, like, doing this. Like, I'm sure it would have been a fun movie to be a part of, just not quite as fun to watch.
Yeah, no.
Especially because, you know, like, I mean, they cast, like, you know, at least Jesse Eisenberg and the chick, I never know how to pronounce her name, Riley Cove or Cove. I mean, looking at the name ain't going to help me pronounce it.
I don't know.
But,
shit, sorry.
Just getting into Sasquatch noises for the remainder of the episode. She's Elvis Presley's granddaughter, the chick from the lodge.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I'm sure they had a good time because, I mean, they're unrecognizable. Like, you couldn't tell who the fuck was who, you know?
They showed the picture of who Jesse Eisenberg was, like in the credits.
And you said,
So I still know which one that fucking was.
Who the fuck is Jesse Eisenberg?
I feel like I know which one it was, but it looks all so goddamn similar.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure that he was the one that was always trying to count shit.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly that Riley chick was the one female. So.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
It
was just alright. The turtle scene threw me off when the turtle bit his finger or whatever, and then I thought they were gonna try to eat the turtle, and then he just threw it. I was like, what? Because I was like, well, maybe they only eat maybe they're like herbivores, because you only ever see them eat
plants and stuff.
Plants until they catch the fish and then just eat the fish raw.
Right.
So I was like, well, they do eat meat, so
Hmm.
maybe it wasn't worth the work. Who knows? Maybe they just saw it as a mean rock. Who knows?
That did, because didn't they like hold it up like it was a phone or something?
Yeah,
too? And then the one just threw it, which I got a chuckle out of.
I mean, I did laugh.
Yeah.
It was so like,
down.
especially like to pretend that it was a phone. I thought was especially a weird choice because Sasquatch don't know what phones are.
Yeah, well, there were actually a few moments like that I was like, how would a Sasquatch know what that is? But to throw back to a previous episode, speaking of turtles, going back to Sonic the Hedgehog, there was that scene with the turtle that may have been one of my favorite scenes of that movie, where James Marsden is like doing the speedometer thing and nobody's running around except for Sonic, who's like just kind of whizzing around, and then like the turtle's in the middle of the road and Sonic like saves it from getting hit, and then he's like, I couldn't imagine going that slow, and then he's like, hey, do you want to know what it's like to go fast? And he's like holding the turtle and just starts running with it, and it plays "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen, and you just see like the G-force just like against the turtle's face, and a smile just like spreads across the turtle's face. But then like when he's done, he goes to put him down, the turtle's just shaking.
Oh, that's awesome!
Hilarious.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I guess that'll do it.
That's it.
That's it.
Awesome. A good episode.
The sun is setting.
The sun has set on this week's episode.
Yes.
Episode 17.
Yes. This week's episode, which is episode 17.
Yes. Just to double down on that. All right. Well, I've been Phil.
I will continue to be Chase.
And we will continue to watch everything.
That's
so
right.
Until next time, you guys.
Peace.
Later.